What's happening, y'all? That is a tune called the Foxhunters jig, although really it's a slip jig. It's a great standard session tune, one that comes up from time to time at the sessions, and one that I was surprised I hadn't really touched on before. So let's break it down. This tune is in the key of D, so grab a D whistle, D flute, D low whistle, whatever you're feeling. We'll dive in here with the basic melody, of course. Now this is a 4-part tune, technically, but it's really a 3-part tune, because the third part is a repeat of the first part. Yeah, just an octave higher. So hopefully that'll make it seem like a few less notes than you might have expected when we were listening to the original run through. But here we go, starting with the A part, nice and slow. So that's the whole first part, and you'll notice it kind of stays in a very narrow range. And that's sort of the hook of this tune, is it's really a 2-part tune, even though it's a 4-part tune. It's kind of got a section here, and then a section here, and then some sort of variations on it, which I think makes it kind of cool. And now let's hit the B part, which is absolutely different, but it's sort of like the counterpoint to the A part. So here we go, nice and slow. So you notice that ending, that kind of resolution as it comes back to the D, is the same, both in the A part and the B part. Then when we jump to the third part, it's a repeat of the first part, except it's an octave higher. So hopefully this will make things a little bit simpler. But here we go, still nice and slow. Cool, hopefully. Again, just a exact transposition up 1 octave from the A part. Now, when we get into the fourth part, I mentioned this is really a 2-part tune, but it's really a 4-part tune. The fourth part is different, but only just the first half of it's different. And it's nice because it's sort of just a complete walk down of a scale. But here we go, nice and slow on the fourth part here. So again, you really just get that one long descending scale that's different from the second part. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. We'll play the whole tune all the way through, A, B, B, C, C, D, D, etc. Still nice and slow, but just to get you a good, workout for the basic melody before we jump in with all the ornaments and the fancy stuff. So here we go, nice and slow. 2, 3, 4. How'd you do? Hopefully you got through most of that all right. Run that a bunch, get that good and locked down, and then we'll dive in with the fun stuff. Hopefully you caught that as I was playing the original tune on the flute with, more up-tempo with all the ornaments and stuff. Lots of possibilities for rolls because it spends a fair bit of time on some quarter notes here, as a lot of slip jigs tend to do. So, but right off the bat, we basically got 4 F sharps in a row a couple of times in that first part. So a roll followed by an extra cut. That's how I'm usually handling that. Not too much else there, couple small cuts. That's a trick that I use a lot, that ending phrase. I'm not really sure how to describe it other than just to kind of demonstrate what I do. As I go from D to E to finish that phrase, I'm just throwing an extra cut in as a separation. And then the timing is the critical part of that to give it that nice little lift. I do want to pause and mention 2 things. One, if you're completely unfamiliar with some of these ornaments that I'm talking about here, I got a video in the corner that you can jump to if you want to get some fundamentals down on how to do some of these things, the rolls and the cuts and all that sort of stuff. And 2, if you're looking for a bit more advanced instruction, I've got this video in my deep dive series over on my Patreon. So you're welcome to check that out as well. We'll go into breakdowns on some of the more advanced ornaments and some of the flute stuff and some other things you can do with it. And while we're at it, please do hit me with a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. The algorithm seems to enjoy that, and I guess it does help. So I appreciate y'all if you've done that already. So thank you again. Here we go with the B part. So starting off, we got a roll there on the B. And really it's a roll and a cut because it's the same 4-note deal. You've got a dotted quarter note plus an extra 8th note. Couple of extra cuts as we sort of jump that the octave down to the low E and then back up the scale. Could do a short roll on that G as well to really punctuate the end of that phrase. Nothing really through that phrase. Bit of tonguing to give it some separation, but otherwise, we're just back down to that same ending phrase that we did in the A part. And I'll do that same bonus grace note thing. Same thing to end that phrase. Then we jump up into the C part, and again, it's a duplicate of the A part, just the octave up. I will slide into that roll on the F sharp. So same thing as we did on the A part, except again, sliding into that and getting those extra grace notes in the upper octave really gives it that bird, shrill, chirpy kind of quality, I think sounds nice. When you do that move, the same as in the lower octave in the A part, but now that we're in the upper octave, going for that high B can be a bit of a gamble. Make sure you're confident in your whistle that you'll be able to hit it cleanly. In addition to that, sliding into that definitely gives you a bit of a confidence boost as well. Makes it a little bit easier to get that high note clean. Not having to do a whole lot there, sliding into that first note of that phrase as we come down on the 4th part. And then just tonguing to get that kind of a jig groove as we fall down that scale. So then a couple things there, sliding into that B. And then a back-to-back short rolls, which I think gives it a nice punchy sort of a quality. A bit of a bookending thing. I like duplicating things like that when I can. Nothing there except that cut on that first B. And again, tonguing to get good separation between those notes. And then we finish with that same phrase. And the whole thing, the whole D part here. And I do like getting a good separation between that big, almost an octave jump as we finish that one phrase and carry on with the last part of the D part there. So let me know what y'all think of this tune. It's a great standard one. It's one of those that sounds more complicated than it is, which I think are my favorites because they're deceptively simple, I guess. So let me know what y'all think. If there's any other tunes you want to hear, give me a shout. I'd be happy to take a run at them. Until then, I'll see y'all in the next one. Cheers.